It feels like for years in La Liga, Real Madrid and Barcelona have completely dominated. Not to mention this season, the remarkable rise of Girona. It means this season, Atletico Madrid have been a bit of an afterthought. Yeah, it's not been a great season, sitting in 4th place, losing 9, and Champions League is not absolutely assured for next season. Diego Simeone is one of the longest serving managers in world football, having taken charge in 2011. Now look, in the past they've had great success. The last La Liga was 2021, but they are in danger of getting caught adrift, and they haven't won the Copa del Rey since 2012-2013, the Spanish Super Cup since 2014. They did win the Europa League in 2017-2018, but there's been no Champions League either. So are things getting a little bit stale at the club? So Simeone is out and we're taking over, and let's see what damage we can do. But in honour of Simeone, we are going to use some of his tactical principles as we build the team. So inspired by Simeone, the Atletico Madrid story begins. Alright crew, how's it going? So I want a decent go at this. So at least 5 seasons I'd say. We're going to build this tactic now based on some principles I've done after research. Let's go. For the base tactic, we'll just use a blank template of a 5 at the back. This is where we get going. Okay, so there is our base tactic on the right-hand side. I'm going to kind of copy that, but make some tweaks myself. This is Simeone inspired, not an exact replication. The Griezmann role in particular, I'm going to drop him back slightly. We're going to have 1 main striker. I think we're going to have 2 supporting him in behind. So something like that. A couple of defensive midfielders perhaps in there like that to keep it solid. A couple of attacking wing-backs. There's the basic shape. That's because I want us attacking like this. So you've got your 10 and 7 of the 2 attacking midfielders. They're going to be bombing past that number 9. They've got 2 really attacking wing backs. And you can see 6 and 8, they're out holding midfielders with your 3 centre backs. So I think having that sort of setup there should kind of mirror what I'm going for there. So then when we're in possession, sustained possession, we should look a little bit like that with the 3 centre backs controlling things, 2 defensive midfielders in front. And that should give us a bit of a front 5, which could be quite exciting. So Simeone has been a bit more attacking this season, and I'm here for it. I did some research on the analyst.com, and they've done a big article about how Simeone turned Atletico Madrid into a goal machine with all the new tweaks. And that carries over into the new defensive shape. Now, many people will think a low block or a mid block. However, as this article shows, it is relentless pressing. He's gotten everyone with high work rate to press the entire team. So for us, that means the trigger press will be high. Not only the high level of press, he actually pushes his team right up. Look at them strikers and midfielders pushing that team right back. So instead of the mid block or low block, we're actually going to push it up to high press. We'll keep the line as standard, but we will also ask them to step up a little bit more as well to compact it a bit. But we are going to create more than one formation because he still does use his classic low press. Look at that. Boxed in, not letting teams get through them. We'll use this against bigger teams. Tempo-wise, it's going to be high because that's going to aid our counter-attack approach and press approach. As far as in transition goes, we're going to counter-press because it fits in with the high workload, but we're going to pick and choose when we use counter because we are still one of the bigger teams and there's no point sitting back and playing counter against some of the smaller teams. As this article says, Atletico are a new team these days. The Metropolitano is no longer a place of Miagro returns of 1-0 wins and backs the wall defending. Simone's side go for it. Backing themselves a bit more will come into play when we organise the roles and the rest of the team instructions. So using the big man's philosophy and his new philosophy of being a bit more aggressive against certain teams, we've come up with a tactic or two. So this is the formation we're going to build from initially. We've got a couple of ball-playing defenders at the back. We've got aggressive wing-backs. These 2 in the midfield will hold things all together, but still having an eye of getting further forward, depending on which player it is. Here's the attacking midfield roles, and they will all link up with the main striker. As for in possession play, it's a bit more creative and exciting than he used to play. There's the in transition. We will drop to counter at various times during the match, but we're going to stick with a counter press for now because that aids the out of possession setup with a big trigger press. We're going to step up more, and that's going to be our high line there, but with a standard line. We do have a couple more versions as well. This is a slightly more attacking one with positive play, playing out from defence, so keeping the ball a bit more, letting these guys get involved in the game. And then the more pragmatic version, old school Simeone if you like. Probably use this against bigger teams away from home. But that's the main tactic. I'm excited to get to use it. Team-wise, we'll put it in there now. It'll probably be the first team we use for the first season. I'm not going to make any transfers. We're going to start with this. So the team looks a bit like that for season 1. It's looking decent there. I quite like it. There's going to be some moves to be made next season because some players are aging out. But overall, very handy indeed. Now, it's not the biggest squad in the world, but there is quite a lot of them out on loan as well, including João Felix, Xavi Galan, some players that we could possibly use next season. Now, there's 4 or 5 players I want to build the team around. They're young, they're exciting, and they'll be with us throughout. First is Samuel Lino, left wing back. Central midfielder, Pablo Barrios. Rodrigo Riquelme, he can either play as wing back or central midfield, attacking midfield, really exciting player. Now, interestingly, João Felix is of course at Barcelona, but he comes back to us next season, so if they don't bid for him, he's part of us. And also, Samu Omoradian, who's on loan at Alaves, he's only 19, but massive potential there. He could be a good replacement for Morata long term. I've also started to build a shortlist for next season. These are young players that are coming out of contract that we can potentially get in for next season. But I'm also not scared to look for the next legacy player like a Suarez or a Griezmann near the back end of their career who could still make an impact. So we'll keep that in mind for next season. But now it's time to get going. First season, let's go. The season started strong. Griezmann enjoyed his role just in behind the strikers. And up with him, Depay, Lamar and Morata were also proving a handful. This game against Real Sociedad, you can see we went old school Simeone with only 32% possession, but way more chances, just clinical. I was actually quite surprised and kind of embarrassed about the great way we started the season. We didn't lose up until a Feyenoord game. In this one, we got well and truly battered. I got it very wrong in this one. After that match, we toyed with a bit of a blip, but we managed to come out of it unscathed. We drew away at Barcelona despite only having 10 men for an hour, and in the Madrid derby we came from 2 goals down at the Bernabeu to draw 2-2. That meant by the January transfer window we were second in the league and hadn't lost yet. We'd still behind Real Madrid, but what a start. We've scored plenty of goals at 41, we've only conceded 14. I'm really happy with the way we've started. Predominantly we've used this formation. We have dropped to the low block on occasions and I've made some tweaks to it. But mostly it's this one and it's working really well. Depay wasn't in my plans, but when he's played, he's been fantastic. He scored 13 times. So we're way ahead of schedule if you ask me, but it's Real Madrid, so they are still too powerful. In the Champions League, we've drew PSG despite finishing top of our group, so yeah, it's going to be tough. Before the January transfer window started, I took a risk and I listed a few players. Ones that won't be part of it next season. It's a move I've got to make because look at the overall balance. It's going to affect my plans for next season's transfer window, so we need to get some money in. So the season is over. How did it go? We miss out on the Copa del Rey once again as we come unstuck away at Barcelona. However, in the league, we got our revenge on them with a comfortable 2-0 win. In fact, the league campaign was pretty much faultless. Only Valencia beat us in the second half of the season before Sevilla right at the end of the season. The tactic had worked really well. Clean sheet after clean sheet. We amassed a massive 92 points, only losing 2 matches, but Real Madrid were just too good and won the league by 7. You can see there we were second top scorers with 79, second best defence in the league with 24. It was just Real Madrid's season, but what a great start. There was, however, disappointment in the Champions League when we played PSG. We go out in the last 16, 4-1. Disappointing. But a really promising season overall. The league performance was superb, lots to build on. And build on we will. That was our team for most of the season, but we're going to replace some players now in a hectic summer transfer window. Youngster Riquelme played a lot and he's going to be a big part of the future of the club. The problem we've got is this massive balance deficit of 80 million, which means our wage budget and transfer budget is pretty low. I'm going to have to move players out. It's also affecting the club in terms of offering new deals. I can't give them a new deal, so they've got unhappy players all over the place. But next season, keep an eye on this man. He's been on loan at Alaves and he was actually the second top scorer in La Liga, bagging 20 goals. Next season, he's back with us. Okay, decent. On to season 2. We are just about to kick off season 2 and we've made a few signings, not many, but a few. Big decision to cash in on Thomas Lemar. He's gone to Tottenham on loan, but they've got to pay 56 million for him. Couldn't turn it down. So Nucci went to Napoli for 15 million. Koke left to PSG on a free. And Correa's gone off to Saudi. So that was transfers out. How about transfers in? Calvin Bassey comes in from Fulham for just 7 million. I said I was going to get some veterans in, and Sebastian Coates comes in for a season from Sporting, surrounded by some youth. Festi Ebosele comes in from Udinese to provide competition at right wing back for 13 million. And for defensive midfield, Andre comes in from Fluminense, again 13 million. So my starting 11 for season 2 looks a little bit like this. Coates jumps into the middle of the 2 centre backs there. João Felix returns. Barca didn't sign him. He's going to sit in the Lamar role in there. Barrios starts in midfield, competing with Andre. Other than that, it's the same team, which I quite like. Season preview has us down in 3rd place at 8-1. Let's try and prove them wrong. Okay, we're halfway through the season. It's been a bit of a tricky one. The big question is, did I do too many changes too soon? Look at the difference at the halfway point. We've already lost 5 matches and Real Madrid are out of sight, 16 clear. We should be okay for a Champions League, but disappointing. Real are destroying the league and they just beat us as well 2-1. So we can't win the league this year, so we're going to concentrate on the Champions League and the Copa del Rey and try and get that over the line. Remember, we haven't won that since 2012-2013 and we've never won the Champions League. I'm also going to start blooding more youngsters ready for next season. So Samu is going to be the new #1 striker ahead of Morata. João Felix is going to play instead of Depay. In January, we brought in Sir Charles de Ketelaere from AC Milan on loan, but he's joining permanently in the summer for 30 million. We struggled a bit in the league still, but with a few tweaks, this form came right back to us for a good end to the season. We finished third behind Real Madrid and Barca. Real Madrid are just out of sight. We ended up losing 9 matches, which is far too many, but we did claim Champions League spots, something to build on for next season. Speaking of the Champions League, we somehow managed to get knocked out by Monaco. This first leg absolutely killed us, and take a look at those match stats. I'm still not over this. What on earth? But more positively, we beat Real Madrid in the Spanish Cup. One of the only teams to beat Real Madrid this season. We beat them in the quarterfinals. This led to us playing Barcelona in the final, and we were absolutely fantastic, smashing them 3-0. This tactic has got us there. We use that in most matches, but now we get more aggressive against teams that are weaker than us by going with an attacking mentality and really taking the game to them. Next season, that front three are going to be our new front three. De Ketelaere, Felix, and big Omar Odian up front. We're going to call him Samu. So we've ticked off one of the goals. We've won the Spanish Cup for the first time in over 10 years. But that gap between us and Real Madrid is far too big, and we need to close it down. In more positive news, we've got the best staff in the league now. We've completely revamped that. We've got high hopes for Season 3. We need to close that gap on Real Madrid. Where do we go from here? Season 3 is going to be interesting. Okay, it's been a very busy pre-season. Very, very busy. We brought in 127 million, so a lot of players have gone. We had to cash in on Griezmann. The legend goes for 46 million, but he is 34 years old. Similar story for Morata, 32 years old. I couldn't turn down 36 million. Sol's gone to Sevilla for 15 million, and there was a host of other players leaving the club on loans, free transfers. So who did we bring in to replace them? Legacy striker Ciro Immobile comes in to be backup instead of Morata, 1 million from Lazio. Centre-back Arthur Fete, pretty sure I'm not pronouncing that right, but he's came in, our biggest signing yet. He cost us 59 million, but I feel like he's going to be a great centre-back. One for the future, Semih Kılıçsoy from Turkish football Besiktas. Also Turkish is Marid Demiral, who comes in from Saudi Arabia, an absolute snip at 8 million. Jonas Yerbig, he's going to be our long-term goalkeeper number 1. For now, he'll play backup. Bastien Moypiu comes in from Nantes. I've loaned him back out there. He'll be a starter next season. And there's Sir Charles, now our player for 39 million. That means our starting 11 looks a little bit like this. The backline's completely changed now. We've got Fiete, Meridional with Jimenez. We've got Eberseli down the right. Riquelme will compete with Samuel Lino for the attacking wing-back spot. Andre Llorente and Barrios will compete in there. Then we've got Sir Charles, Felix and Omo up front, and the backup list down here is really, really good. Thomas Lemar is also back because Tottenham didn't pay for him. Damn it. But I'm quite happy to have him back. Season preview again has us at third. Real Madrid odds-on favourite, and if you look at the Media Dream 11, you can see why. Tactic-wise, I'm sticking with this one. Diego Simeone, and then we've got this alternate version here which is more attacking. And I will play counter-attacking some games where I need to when we're up against it. Right, things have been really good. Like, really good. So good that we dominated the best team in the world, no less. But a sloppy start to the season means Real Madrid are again out in front, not losing a match. Saudi money tempted Llorente. He went for 94 million. And Bassi went to Spurs for 30 million. I replaced Llorente with Florentino Luis from Benfica for just 34 million. And I spent big money on Wes Fofana from Chelsea, 50 million. However, the rest of the season just turned to a draw fest. We lost in the final of the Super Cup. We got knocked out of the 4th round in the Cup by Granada. The Champions League City got their revenge. And we finished a lowly 4th in the La Liga. We only lost 5 games. We only conceded 23, but we just drew too many matches, 11. Real Madrid stomped the league again. Season 4. So yeah, Season 4 is going to be a big one, and I made some big moves in the transfer market. Got Ruben Neves for 40 million. Kimpembe from PSG for a free transfer for centre-back. An absolute snip for Pepe. He was at Man City. Didn't play him. We signed him for 15 million. And I spent big money on Victor Gyökeres from Sporting, 50 million. I also raided Saudi for Gabri Vega. He comes in on a free transfer after his contract ran out. And yet again, the tactic evolves for Season 4. We've now got an inverted wing-back on attack. He's going to bomb up there. The more defensive of the two midfielders, Florentino Luis, will cover him. We're going to have a wide centre-back to provide the width. And the front three now looks lightning. And don't forget, we've still got Samu up front as well. We were so good at the start of the season. Clean sheets everywhere, winning every match. The first big test came away at Barca, but we got a 2-2 draw. When January came, we hadn't lost a match in any competition. We're doing well in the Champions League with 3 draws, 3 wins, and we are top of La Liga, even ahead of the mighty Real Madrid. We're looking like a super solid Atletico Madrid team here. We're scoring over 2 goals a game and conceding less than half a goal a match. Currently the tactic looks like this. I'm rotating quite a lot. I've also retrained Gabri Vega into a defensive midfielder. He's in the early stages of training, but his form's been fantastic. Gyökeres started really well with 9 goals, but he got injured. But thankfully we had Samu to step in. I've got high hopes for the second part of the season, especially with this sort of performance against PSG. Is this the year we do it? Is this the year? On to the end of the season we go, but one more thing. Neymar's in for 800,000 from PSG. We finally lost the match as Man City killed us on the break and smashed us in the Champions League. A few days later in the Copa del Rey, Barca just knocked us out. That is our first slight blip of the season. It means the league is super important and we are still undefeated in that. An absolutely landmark win away to Valencia in the run-in. That's a boomer, that. Means with 4 games to go, we are top by 7, but Barca have 3 games in hand and Real Madrid are lurking as well with 2 games in hand. Blimey. Madrid derby, Real Madrid away, bang! Topsy-turvy match, we somehow come out on top. That looks like Real Madrid out of it. It's between us and Barca. Barcelona got beat by Real Sociedad, which meant a win in our next game gets us La Liga finally. Half time it was still 0-0 despite dominating. Finally we made the breakthrough. So there you have it. After season 4, we go invincible and win the league. It wasn't a perfect season. We weren't great in the cups, but that league campaign was something special. So no defeats. We scored 76 and we only conceded 16. I love that. I love that. We didn't blow teams away massively, but only conceding 16 is wild. So we get Atletico Madrid back on top of Spain. Season 4 will wrap up this story, I think. And meanwhile, in Diego Simeone land, is in charge of Southampton. And a quick reminder, there is the final tactic that we used, and that is available for my Patreons in your homepage now.